Today I show you how to create this Glassmorphism contact form inside of HTML and CSS, where you can type in a name, a topic, a message, and press the send button if you wanted to. To get started creating a contact form, we create another section, and inside of the section we can create a form, which is basically our contact form. We could also add a heading, for example, above our contact form that says, for example, contact us or whatever, and we can put this heading also inside of our contact form. Now let's also give our section a background color by giving it a class that says contact form section, for example. Now we'll take this class, we go into CSS, and we'll scroll down. I have a couple of styles here already, and let's target our contact form section. Let's give it a background color. I've already used this background color a couple of times, so I'm going to just copy and pasting it in. You can also just copy those colors once again, and now we basically right here have our contact us page. Now I'm also going to use padding section again, which has a padding of top of 80 pixels and a padding of bottom of 80 pixels. So I'm going to take that class and paste that in here as well. So now we should have some padding top and bottom and our contact us form. First of all, I'm going to remove the center class right here because I don't want this to be centered. And now I'm going to add some classes, or one class to our form, which is basically the form container. And now I'm going to take this form container to style our form. I'm going to go down inside of our style sheet, going to target .form container. I'll give it a padding of 40 pixels, a background of white, but I'm going to change the background color, or to be precise, I'm going to change the background opacity or transparency to 0.1. And now we have this effect already, which is basically somewhat a glass effect. Now I'm also going to change the width to 500 pixels for now, and now I'm also going to give it a border radius of 10 pixels and a backdrop filter of blur of 10 pixels. So now we basically have this effect. Now I want my contact form to be in the center, obviously, so I'm going to use a div that surrounds our form, and I give this div a class of flex and a justify center to center our items. And now our contact form is centered. The next thing I'm going to do is adding some form fields. So the first thing I'll have is an input of type text, and that one could, for example, be the name, the ID could be name, and the placeholder text could be name as well. I'm going to duplicate that text field, and the second field could, for example, be topic, and ID is topic, and placeholder is topic. So the user can define a topic, for example. And the third field is a text area that just defines a text area, and the text area could, for example, say that this is the message and has the name message. So now we have those three fields. Obviously they look terrible right now, so we have to style them. And we can do so by using our form container class. And instead of this form container class, we are going to target our inputs, and we'll say that we have a background of white, but we are actually just going to use a transparent background of RGBA 255, 255, 2550. So the background is transparent. Now we are going, or let's say we use 0.1 for the background, so it's almost transparent but not fully transparent. Let's use padding top bottom 10 pixels, left right maybe 15 pixels. Now we have this effect right here, width of 100%, border of 0, outline of 0. So we have this effect right now. Let's also target our placeholder by using the same target of input by : placeholder to target a placeholder, and we say this one has a color of white, but again pure white is probably not ideal, so we are going with 0.8 for the transparency, so it's more or less a form of gray. I need to remove this dot right here. I'm going to save the document, and now we have this effect. Now let's maybe add a border radius, or you can leave it like that, whatever you prefer. In my case, I'm going to say, okay, let's use a border radius of 30 pixels. So we have rounded borders like so, and maybe some more padding to the top. So let's probably just go with 15 pixels into all directions like so. And now let's also add a flex to our, let's also just add flex to our class, to our form class. So we'll add flex, which is basically just again the class dot flex that we've defined here that sets display to flex. And we might also need flex column, which sets the flex direction to column. So now we basically have the same layout, but we have it in a flex box, and this gives us the opportunity to use a gap. And I have some predefined classes here that create a gap of 40 pixels in this case. So let's take a look at that, but that's probably a little bit too much. So I'm going to use gap 1, or I'm going to create gap 2, and gap 2 will have 20 pixels, and I'm just going to test what looks better. But I think gap 1 might actually be enough in this case. So now we have 10 pixels of gap between our name and our topic. And now we should probably also start to style our text area. Obviously, we can do so by going down instead of our style shield first of all, and then let's say that we're going to do the same for our dot form container text area and see how this one looks. So now we have this effect basically, but I think it could probably look slightly better if we would change some things. So we're just going to copy this one, we paste it down here, and now we'll copy all of those effects once again, we'll paste them in here, and now let's say that we have a height of maybe 200 pixels, because usually the text area is a little bit bigger, and like so we have a slightly bigger text area. Obviously we also need a placeholder for the text area, so we say send us a message ... And now we obviously also need to style that one by, for example, using the same effects for placeholder of the text area. Placeholder, and now we have the same effect. So our color should be white as well. But it does not seem to work because we don't have a dot right here, and now it should work. So now we basically have sent as a message, topic, and whatever, but you can see the text is still black, and this is something that we have to change as well by using color of white, and obviously the same for the text area. And now we should have white color inside of our input fields as well. So now we probably need a submit button as well, and we can add one by creating a button of type submit, and we can, for example, say send message, for example. And now we'll give this button a class button white, for example, and we'll take a look at what this looks like. Obviously right now it looks completely terrible, so we are going to target dot button white. We say we want to have padding top bottom 10 pixels, left right 40 pixels, border radius 30 pixels, border of 0, color of black, and let's take a look at what this looks like. So this is basically the button, and obviously we can also say width is min content to make it fit the content. And like so, it somehow doesn't look too good because we have those lines separated. So we're going to use white space no wrap as well. And now we have this send a message button. I think it could look better if we have some more padding to the top. So I'm going to use that. And let's also add a cursor of pointer to have a pointer right here. And by doing so, you basically have this basic content form where you can add your name, like my name is Pascal, topic, I maybe want to get a website, and then you can message some stuff if you wanted to. Obviously, you could add as many fields as you wanted to. You could also add an upload, a file section, whatever, but yeah, that's obviously up to you. I really hope this helped you to create this contact us form, and yeah,